Welcome to Holiday Gift Podcast, the podcast that was created to give you ideas, books, courses, and luxury items that will thrill, that will build the bottom line of any entrepreneur, podcaster in your life. We'll be right back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Brand new episode right here. Her business, her voice, her conversation. I am your host, Margot Levette. Well, when don't I tell you this is a very special show? But really and truly, this is a special show because it's paying attention and putting focus on our health. You've heard the adage, our health is our wealth. And haven't we come to know that? I think if we didn't realize it, we really came to understand that during COVID. But this lady, she doesn't just pass out the pills. She heals us in another way. So I'm not going to keep talking. I'm going to bring on Njudeka N. Olatunde.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, my dear, for having me.
Oh, my goodness. You are the CEO and the originator of Focus on Healing Wellness Institute, and you are an author also.
Yes, I am.
And this lady has a whole lot of PhD, DHD. She has a whole lot of credentials in behind her name. So today's conversation puts you in good hands. Njudeka, how long have you been practicing? And let me make sure that everybody knows that you're not an MD, but you are a reflex touchologist, correct?
Well, what I am, to put it all together, I am basically a naturopath practitioner. So okay. That's my healthcare training. I practice naturopath. And inside my practice, what I do is I focused on adding a specialty, and that specialty happens to be reflexology. And for those who may not know what it is, reflexology is the art and science of working specific reflex and pressure points on the hands, feet, and ears via the nerve endings in the body.
Wow. So non-intrusive. You don't have all this poking and prodding and stuff like that, but just really paying attention to the pressure points in our ears, our hands, and our feet.
Exactly. Gosh. And the beauty of it is the fact that it's a technique that all of us can do. Mm-hmm. It's not that you necessarily have to. You go to a practitioner for the specialization. Mm-hmm. But my whole focus in terms of what I'm introducing now is how to bring back the power of touch in healing. And to use the power of touch in healing, the therapy is the reflexology. And that's what I'm introducing, the touchology, reflexology therapy for families to be able to relieve pain. Like we have CPR. Well, now we can have pain relief as emergency using reflexology.
Wow. For the migraines, any kind of pain.
Any type of pain. And the focus is so that we will be able to relieve pain without having to use addictive medication known as the opiates. Wow. And that's my whole reasoning behind all of this, is to introduce the public to how to put together hands-on therapies so that you can relieve pain and not have to use the opiates, which is plaguing our community and destroying our families. Yes. So, we need to be able to find something to address this issue. And that is my passion in terms of reflexology being the solution.
Mm-hmm. Do you, Njudeka, to heal, to free a person the pain of addiction and without opiates? If to me, and I'm very lightweight. Back in the day, I only smoked a little reefer, and that was it for me. But now, when you're talking about getting into the harder drugs and getting off of them, and just going through that process, you really do need some hands-on therapy because that pain has got to be quite intense. Once you've become addicted, your threshold for pain has to be quite high. Will you speak to that?
Margot, that's an excellent question, because when you talk about pain as its relationship to addiction, you have to look at what was the reason that caused you to have the pain. And then once you got the pain, how did you relieve it? And once you found a way to relieve it, which usually is the opiates or some type of medication, and then your body builds up a resistance to the medication that relieves the pain. So now what you're looking at is, in my mind, I know that this particular medication is supposed to relieve my pain, but my body inside has built up the resistance that it is no longer accepting the medication to relieve my pain. So now you've created another problem, which is known as the addiction added to other health problems, all because you were trying to find a way to relieve pain. When, if you go back, we're going to do a flashback. When you were a child and you fell down and hurt yourself, what was the first thing that person you went to when you were crying, be it your mother, your grandmother, your father, whoever? What's the first thing that they would do?
Kiss it or even rub it.
That's exactly right. And what is that? Touch. And as a child, what did that do? You started feeling so much better. But remember now, you hurt yourself. Why doesn't that same process work when we're in pain in the body? Wow. It's no different. Because when you are rubbing that area, what you have done is sent a message to the brain, release the body's natural pain relievers, known as endorphins.
So we're working with the body. We're using the body to help the body rather than introduce something else that is just going to get us create another problem.
The function that we need to understand is that in the healing process, you have to assist the body. You don't hinder it. See, when a person goes to a doctor for a particular health problem, they are going specifically because they are in pain. So what should happen? We need to work on relieving the pain first, then put the treatment plan together, which is another part of the whole healing process. But relieving pain first is what's important. And when we relieve the pain, now the body is in a state of naturally working with you to heal itself.
Wow. This is I'm almost ashamed to say that this is a totally different mindset, another way of looking at healing, but it really, really is. But this conversation, you've been having it with people for how many years, Njideka? I want people to understand that you are just a wellspring of knowledge. This is nothing. You can speak this stuff, and you can these principles and these truths. You can give this to us 24/7 at any time. How long have you been teaching and actually been a practitioner?
Margot, I'm celebrating my 40th year of teaching reflexology and sharing reflexology information. And that really kind of humbled me, because you know how time just flies by. And I didn't even realize it until I was going through some papers, and I look and say, oh, wow. It's been 40 years that I've been doing, but it's been so much a part of me. And what I need to share with your listeners to understand how all of this came about is through the process of I originally in my career started as a social worker. And as a social worker, one of the things that concerned me was that everybody always went to the emergency room for their doctor. Mm-hmm. And so I'm saying, what is it that we can do that looks toward prevention? How can I start helping people to get into preventive approaches to healthcare? And so from that evolved into me looking at now, when you're going to the doctor, because you're in pain. So then I had to start looking at all of the years that I had been doing reflexology. Everybody was coming to me for pain relief. That was their number one reason. And when they left, they had gotten the results they were looking for, being relieved of pain. So then I said, okay, well, if that's the case, then I need to look at this and really seriously look at this and study this. Well, in the events, especially like right as we were going through the recession, the first recession, I started having clients who were suffering with excruciating pain, and they had gotten into the habit of the opiates. And I'm looking at this, and I'm saying, something's got to be done. So then I started looking at how I can introduce reflexology as an alternative to the opiates in relieving pain. And when I started losing a lot of family members, clients, and friends because of the opiates, and when I say that, they were in such serious pain that it became unbearable. And then it got to the point that they could no longer get the prescriptions for the pain medication. But I'm in pain. I need relief. Now we start going to the street, looking at the illegal sources for pain relief. Or if my family member has any kind of medication for pain, I'm taking that. So when you're doing all of this, now you are creating really serious health problems for your body, in addition to the health problem you had that caused you to have to go to pain medication. So now we're looking at a whole combination of things as it relates to pain. That evolved into me looking at, as a healthcare practitioner, it is my duty and my responsibility to be about bringing hands-on approaches to health and wellness and relieving pain, which means that now we have to start connecting pain and stress together. They're not separate of each other, because when you look at why was I in pain, it's stress related. Why do I need pain medication? It's stress related. So when you bring the two together, now you can work to put together an optimum plan for health and wellness, relieving pain, relieving stress, and restoring the body back to its natural state.
Oh, wow. Isn't that what we all need? If we can get rid of that stress and that... Njideka, this is fascinating. And my next question is this, the thing of stress. In varying measures of it, we all have it in our lives, but it seems like things have sped up so fast, so bad, until reflexology, I'm sure that even if we don't have pain, that the result of the stress is not a result of pain. Isn't there something that we can do so that we can relieve the stress before it does convert into pain in our body?
Oh, definitely, because one of the major benefits of reflexology is relaxing the mind, the body, and the spirit. And see, the other thing that people do not know, it does not matter what approach you are using to heal yourself, whether it's conventional medicine, whether it's even alternative therapies, or you're doing some self-help work on your own. The body will not heal itself until it's in a state of rest and relaxation. You have to have that. Even though, like, you can go to the doctor, but if you are stressed, how can what the doctor suggests you to do work? Mm-hmm. It can't happen because we're dealing with the stress factor. And 95% of all of the illnesses that affect our body is the result of stress.
Man, say that. Even our mental states are a result of stress. This is important what you're talking about right here.
And when you think about it, because we are dealing with 24/7 doom and gloom all day long, what can you expect? The mind has got you in that programmed position to accept all the stuff that you are seeing, which is doing what? Causing havoc on you mentally, physically, and even spiritually. Mm-hmm. We are dealing with this. And the only way that you can turn all of this around is to put yourself in a state of rest, relaxation. And that is what happens through the power of touch. And that's why I always say the power of touch heals everything.
Gosh, yes. Ooh, I tell you, I can relate to this thing of having to put yourself into a state of rest and relaxation, and then you can heal. Because after 26 years in corporate, I quit. Yes. I was in such a state until I quit. The doctor said, it's you or it's that job. And I looked around one day and it was me. And it took me a year in Njideka to just get situated where I could just breathe and be me again. It was, I never been through anything like that. So I know what you're talking about. You have to have that rest and relaxation. Mandatory.
And the thing, what happened to you in that experience, what did we do? We focused on the communication center of the body, which is the mind. And when you change your mindset, everything flows. And that's the beauty of reflexology, because reflexology, by stimulating the nerve endings in the hands and feet, you're sending the message through the nervous system to the mind to do what it needs to do.
We're giving itself permission to heal. Healing. Permission to heal.
Yes.
Once we do the reflexology.
Yes.
In Njideka, do you teach us on, I know that I'm West Coast, you're East Coast. And I know reflexology is something that all of us need, global. Germany, Europe, Russia, all of us need this. So how do we learn from you? Because with the opiates, you have to keep coming back and keep coming back and keep coming back. But with reflexology, it seems like once you learn what to touch, where to touch it, then it's something that you can practice. You can do it all the time, be you male, female, or even a child. So how could we learn this from you as far as stress okay, let me break it down into two things. Where could we learn this if a person really needs to beat this thing of stress? And then on the other spectrum, we have people who just have this very severe pain and they don't know what to do about it anymore. How can they learn these techniques from you?
Thank you for asking me. I teach virtually. I teach you virtually how you can do reflexology for whatever your particular pain or health problem is. You can work with me in a class training program. We do group trainings online, and I also do one-on-one consultations. And with the one-on-one consultations, it's like a virtual reflexology session, one-on-one with me, like you would be coming to your doctor in your doctor's office, and together we work on putting a reflexology therapy program in place for your particular health problems. And the other thing I'm going to add to this is also excellent for a particular population that no one ever thinks about. It's the caregivers of the pain sufferers.
Oh, yes.
This is for you too.
Yes.
Because you are dealing with a situation that's dealing with the stress of your loved one, the stress of their particular health problem, and the stress that happens to you just because you care for them. And we never talk about them. This is where reflexology comes in, because, and the reason why it's an excellent thing, because as you give, you are receiving. So while you are doing the reflexology to your loved one, and your loved one is receiving the relief of pain, you are receiving the thank you-ness from them that you were able to make a difference in their lives.
Oh, wow.
And that calms you down. That brings the calmness to you.
Gosh, forgotten population. You're
Yes.
right. And so many of us are right there caring for mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, so many of us are right there. I'm just wondering, I'm looking at the time and looks like you're kind of frozen here. Can you hear me still, Njideka? Njideka, we do the caregivers are almost the forgotten population, as we've been stating. Oh, yeah, we can relate to that. So my thought here, sitting here, is that, now because of COVID, we can have one-on-one conversations with our traditional medical physician. All the more do we need to schedule a one-on-one with our favorite healthcare practitioner, being yourself. Because, we look at what's going on in the world. This thing of severe pain is real. And I think, even though they're not calling it epidemic proportions, I would think that it is because of the opioid fentanyl crisis that's going on in this country. So I would be a strong advocate of the one-on-one consultation with you, so that, you can help yourself and help a loved one. Now, my question is, how do we reach you? Oh, wait a minute. Before we go to that, your book, Reflexology Today. Let me get this so that I can read this off. Let me make sure I have this. Oh, I got the wrong sheet of paper. Hold on. Girl, you got me. I am so excited about this. This is groundbreaking to me. Njideka is the author of Reflexology Today, a family affair, self-health, family wellness guide for pain and stress relief. And we can get a copy over on Amazon. Will you take a deeper dive into I know that it's been a work in progress, but will you take us inside of your book and then tell us how we can get in contact with you so that we can get these one-on-ones scheduled?
Okay. I want to add one thing as a footnote, because you brought that up. When you think about, which is the reason when I realized this book that's coming out, it was first written in 1997. That's when the book was first written. And it was wrote at that particular time because I was always a firm believer that families should be doing and should know how to do reflexology. That's how the book was written. And since that time, because of the pandemic, and we went through the pandemic, I want to leave this footnote for everyone to understand this. Yes, we're in a pain crisis right now. And that pain crisis really escalated because of the pandemic, which goes back to stress. And when you think about the pandemic, the number one stress factor of the pandemic was the lack of touch. Mm-hmm. That's what took most people's lives, the lack of touch. And the reason why I'm saying that, because as humans, we survive on touching. And when you don't touch, there's a lot of deprivation that happens to you. You know, we know that through studies as it relates to babies. Yeah. The book that I wrote, and I set it up as a family guide in relieving stress and pain. It's designed to, I share information as it relates to integrating reflexology with your conventional medicine, but mainly to try to move you into looking at all of the alternative therapies that are available to you as another alternative to medication that you use for pain. Because the thing that's very important to understand about conventional medicine is excellent for diagnosing. Once you get your diagnosis, then you need to look at, when you've got a diagnosis, what part of my body is in trouble now? Mm. What part of my body needs help and assistance? Now you can look at, how do I put together my wellness program to assist my body in the healing process? And that's what this book is all about, to give you that kind of understanding to help you take back control of your life from pain and stress just by assisting the body using the power of touch.
Wow. That's why we feel so good and renewed after a massage.
Always.
I mean, man, my shoulder right now, I was thinking a couple of days ago, I said, dang, I need a massage. I just feel all kinds of waves in my back here.
And what are you asking for? Touch. And even if you are relieving pains with the CBD, you have to do what? You got to go in there, get the cream and put it on. And what is that? Touching. In order for the cream to work, to stimulate the nerve endings to make it work. It's still touching.
And community, you can do it yourself, but it just feels, you get into that state of relaxation and serenity when somebody else is doing that for you.
And the other thing that's important, which is another focus of my book, is how does the family come back together in healing themselves? And now you can make reflexology a family activity that relates to mental stress and emotional stress relief. Mm-hmm. And so that's what this book is all about. It is focusing specifically to return us back to our state of natural health and wellness using the power of touch.
And you know what, Njideka, when you say that it's family wellness guide, I'm thinking, okay, for say even my grandkids, if they don't learn that pain is relieved first and foremost by traditional medicine, and if they know to go to touch, that's turning around the mindset of a whole nother generation. So the family, that makes a lot of sense. We're teaching our kids how to care for pain and stress in a natural way.
It is very important because when you think about the most stressed out population right now are our teens and young adults. And especially when you talk about teens, they are under so much stress and trauma, and no one has ever taken the time to introduce relief to them. Just like what you just said, your neck is bothering. So what you know, okay, I know to go to massage therapist. We have not taught our young people that these same things are available to them. And that's one of the things. I have a program that's designed specifically for young people ages 8 to 17 to learn how to do reflexology as a pain relief for wellness, in addition to looking at it as a career opportunity.
There you go. That was my next question, really and truly. Your stuff. Are you teaching and training the next generation so that we can come out of this state of drug society? Are you training people?
That's my baby project. That's really one of my main passions, is to be able to pass all that I know to the next generation, who are our future leaders, teachers, and healers. And I want to do it using reflexology. And they can just teach them the basics and let them take it to where they want to take it. Because that's the beauty of reflexology. It's not an etched in stone kind of therapy. Once you learn the basics and learn how to connect the nerve endings as you find them in your hands and feet, it's automatic memory. And I'll share an example of that. I don't know whether we're doing it now, but when we were little children and we were babies, there was a little activity called This Little Piggy.
Oh, yeah.
And when you did This Little Piggy, on each of the toes and on the fingers, you did that. Do you know that relaxed the baby? Because you stimulated the nerve endings. You had activated the nerves and you didn't know. So we've all done it. You didn't even know that you were doing it. But that was the benefit.
Oh, wow. I'm interested to take the class just so that I can just to know these things. I mean, to know reflexology so that I can use it on myself, use it on my granddaughter. She's 4 months old, and this little piggy. Now you can go to sleep. Now you don't have to get so riled up, you know?
Yes.
Hey, wow.
But you know something, Margot? In my teachings, how I originally got started was with people just like you saying, I want to be able to do something to help my family, or I want to be able to do something to help this person I know who's in pain. And that's why they wanted to learn reflexology. That's how the majority of my students came about, with just that desire.
Wow.
In terms of wanting to be able, because it's natural. It's a natural therapy. And it's the first therapy. It's older than massage. It's the first hands-on therapy. So it goes way back. So it's something that has been passed on for decades, from generation to generation. And that's why it is so important to me to make sure that this part of our legacy and can still do the same thing, going from generation to generation. Because when we come to understand the power of touch, it's not only just physical, because touch is not physical. You and I right now are touching. It's sharing energy. That's what touch is all about.
Yes, yes. And energy, sharing of energy is powerful. It is so very powerful. Gosh, I just have one final question, and really, because I'm looking at the clock, and I really do want people to find out how to get in contact with you. But as you were speaking of learning touchology, my thought was, once you learn and you get into a stressful situation or something like that, and you really just want to get yourself restored to that place of relaxation. I really want to learn that. I want to be able to practice that. Do you practice reflexology with the oils and the meditation and that type of thing, that stealing away time, that me time, to really get full benefit of touchology?
Yes, because you can incorporate into whatever has been working to calm you down. Whatever it is, you know, that even if you got in a hot tub of water and just soaked, you could still do some reflexology on yourself. Even if you went to sit in a park somewhere quietly, you could still do reflexology on yourself. You can put yourself in that state of rest and relaxation. And how does it happen? By touching. Because then you send the message to the brain, release the body's natural pain, relaxing, or healing techniques that are needed, that the body is needing and requesting, because the message is going through the brain just because you touched your hands or touched your feet.
Wow. You know what? We could go on and on and
Yes,
on.
ma'am.
I'm loving this. I told you all this lady is no joke. We're talking about reflexology today, a family affair, self-health, family wellness guide for pain and stress relief. You can get your copy over on Amazon now, or Njideka is going to tell us how you can work with, how she can work with you, you can work with her, because I know that it's a partnership. How do they get in contact with you?
I would ask that, you spend some time and stop by our website, and which is www.focusonhealing.com. Browse around and be sure to send me an email message, contact, from the website. But on the website explains everything that we do, how you can work with me and how I can work with you. And I would like to send to you, Margot, so that you can extend to your listeners. I have a pain relief download for them, and I will send that to you that they can have, which they can use always, in terms of it's 121 ways to release stress and pain. And I will see that you get that to share with your listening audience. Wow.
Well, I tell you what, definitely going to share that out. Thank you, because we all need that. We need that pain relief download. Thank you. That's generous. So, and I know that what you send comes with a guarantee that one of these techniques is going to work for a person.
Yes, ma'am.
Find what works for you. Find what restores you.
Yes.
Because our bodies, the old adage is our body is our temple. And if we if we let stress and pain tear our as the commercials say, tear our bodies to bits, we have nothing. We can't do anything.
Exactly.
We're bankrupt.
Exactly. And that's the reason why it is so important that we get back into understanding the positive side of touching. Mm-hmm. Touch is positive. Touch is healing, and we need it. And until we can understand the power of touch, we will be stuck in this 24/7 doom and gloom, which is about negativity. We want to be able to touch so that we can cleanse ourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually to bring back our healing power. As I say, take back and put health back in healthy.
Wow. I love it. That is, wow. Njudeka N. Olatunde, you are remarkable. What can I say? This, I always tell people that they have to listen more than one time, but they definitely have to listen to this conversation more than one time. It has been a pleasure speaking with you. And I promise this is the last thing I want to mention to everybody. You have a podcast. So you're going to have to come back sometime. And have you launched already? Have you launched your podcast?
Yes, the podcast is touchologywellnessexperience.com.
Experience. You're giving us an experience. I love it. Give us that once again so that we can find you on Spotify, wherever people find their podcasts.
It's the Touchology Wellness Experience.
Okay. This lady has been busy. As you can see, she's been studying, she's been writing, she's been practicing touchology. She's sharing with us. She's a podcaster. What can we say?
Well, I thank you, Margot, for having me. It's been my pleasure. And in whatever way that my message can touch your listeners, I invite them, contact me. I'm here for you.
Yes. Let's get ourselves back to health. Definitely. Wow. It's hard to stop say goodbye on a good conversation like this, but we have to. So thank you. And thank you for everybody for listening, sharing this out, and getting in contact with Njudeka, because we owe it to ourselves. We have to give ourselves permission to be healthy. we have to understand that that is our wealth. And if we're going to be entrepreneurs, if we're going to be podcasters, whatever we're going to do in this life, we have to control and take charge of our health. And the gift of health is just that, a gift. You can give that to someone, you can gift it to someone, or gift it to yourself, but we must pay attention to today's subject and content. So I could go on, but I won't. I'll just say, hey, thank you for listening. I'll be back next week with a brand new episode right here. Her business, her voice, her conversation. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you.
I truly hope that you are enjoying this podcast, holiday podcast for gifting. Yes, we are highlighting and promoting gifts that any podcaster, any entrepreneur would love to receive. If you would like to view us on video, if you want the free gifts that we're giving away on the podcast throughout this holiday season, the links are always in the show notes. We'll be back next time. More gift ideas for the entrepreneur and the podcaster. And you never know what freebies we're giving away throughout this holiday season. So we'll see you next time. I'm your host, Margot Levat. Bye-bye now.